Abigail, Guardian of the Portals, a Halloween Mission 2024. The sky over Abigail's city was gray, as if even the clouds knew that this day would be different. The day as a saleswoman in her favorite store was calm. There were no special events except the Halloween rush, as many people were shopping for the occasion. Finally free, she thought. No mission, no portal, no rescue, just her and her cat. She had brought something from the butcher: schnitzel, potato salad, and mushrooms. It was supposed to be a quiet evening. At least that's what she thought. Until now, evil had not appeared on Halloween. She prepared her meal and set the table. Since the food was still too hot, she scrolled through her messages in the meantime. She enjoyed her free time and laughed at a few harmless chats, until one person started bombarding her with endless messages about cryptocurrencies. The guy had always made a good impression, she thought, but maybe his account had been taken over by some bot or hacker, which explained why so many strange messages appeared. She briefly frowned as she thought about it. Always the same topic, always the same tone. Eventually, she put the phone aside, sighed, and murmured, "Some people see value only in numbers, not in what really matters." It wasn't worth thinking about pointless gambling, cryptocurrencies, or Bitcoin. Just before she was about to start eating, the light flickered. The ghostwriter inside her spoke up. "We have a mission." Abigail prepared for her transformation, but nothing happened. "Abigail," said the ghostwriter. Of course, how could it be otherwise? She recognized him immediately, for he had been her quiet or annoying companion from mission to mission for a very long time. "I know you were looking forward to this day off, but not tonight," he said with a rough undertone. "And what is about to happen? I know, you won't like it." Nervously, she tried again to transform, but she remained in her human form. "What's wrong? Why aren't we transforming?" she asked. "That's part of the mission," he said curtly and sharply. Slowly, she started worrying about his behavior. Normally, they worked together, not against each other. A flaming portal opened, but it was not her favorite color. The ghostwriter inside her noticed she was nervous and tried to lighten the mood a bit, knowing the horror and fate awaiting the other world. And he knew Abigail would not tolerate it. Only this time, she must not interfere. This time, it would be very difficult to control her, but the rules of the multi-universe had to be followed. In a sarcastic tone and in an unfamiliar form of cheerfulness, he spoke to her. "Halloween, the other side calls." But Abigail did not smile. She knew that when the portal became active at Halloween, the task would be very difficult. "What is it this time?" Abigail asked, calm but slightly nervous and uneasy. Even though she already felt the burning energy on the other side, she didn't like entering this new world unprotected. "You don't need to put on your armor," said the writer, "and we will not transform either." And before she could protest, both of them, as one person, stepped through the portal. Once on the other side, the ghostwriter said to her, "This is a world that has been seduced by false promises," the writer replied. "It is even worse than ours. Here, the world of politicians and the EU has truly gone mad. Complete chat control and harassment of the population, while criminals are protected by politics. And now, as they are running out of money on all levels, they wanted to create wealth from nothing and open the door to chaos themselves." Abigail stood next to the portal, stunned. The portal was a shimmering, violet-blue vortex, cold and yet alive. She took a deep breath and watched in horror what was happening. The world on the other side was dark, filled with metallic howls and flickering neon lights. Between the buildings, people ran, chased by metallic creatures, robot dogs of the old generation she knew from her world, and had also seen in a Netflix series, Black Mirror. These had red eyes, new models she did not recognize, or red sensors. Some people clutched briefcases or bracelets with glowing symbols, signs of cryptocurrency of their own greed. They tried to remove the bracelets, their political shackles, but failed. Other people without these symbols watched fascinated by the events without being attacked by the state-controlled political robot dogs. Some even laughed and took photos and videos with their phones. The ghostwriter snorted at the behavior of those who did nothing and just watched. "I should," he began, and interrupted himself. Abigail knew exactly what he meant. Abigail stood still and observed everything. She felt neither fear nor pity, only deep sadness. "We must do something," she said to the ghostwriter. And help! She tried to activate her power, but nothing happened. Hey, she protested angrily. What's wrong? But the ghostwriter within her remained silent. Above her appeared the Watcher, a shadowy, transparent figure, cloaked in light and shadow. He spoke sadly. In this reality where you are now, you must not intervene. You may only watch and observe, and remember it for your world, so it does not happen here, Abigail. I apologize for disturbing you at dinner. But this world eats what it has cooked itself. Only through pain can understanding grow. Abigail blinked in astonishment. Before she could speak, she lowered her gaze. She knew he was right. But why must they suffer so? Because they believed greed was progress, the Watcher replied. You are here to learn to observe so that this fate does not repeat itself in your world. Abigail felt almost powerless with rage. Being unable to act while others suffered went against her nature. In the distance, she heard the ghostwriter laughing, deep and rough. All pity was gone, as he said, some lessons burn hotter than fire. Abigail turned away from the scene. She no longer wanted to watch the suffering. The robot dogs had long done what they were programmed to do. She knew the Watcher was right. And even if she saved some people or this world, it would have affected the entire multi-universe. Perhaps she could have saved this universe, but another universe would have suffered or been destroyed. Sadly, she returned to her world. As the portal closed behind her, a soft whisper lingered in the air. Perhaps they will learn it in the next life, said the ghostwriter. Back in her world, the fantastic meal she had cooked was long cold on the table. Outside, a candle flickered in the wind, and somewhere in the distance, quiet laughter echoed, between Halloween and reality. She put her food in the fridge, for her appetite had vanished. She sat sadly in the armchair and pondered the different realities. Chapter 2. Abigail. Aftermath. The Lesson of Cryptocurrencies. The night was quiet as Abigail reopened the portal of the world she had recently visited, briefly considering intervention, but then closed it again. No, she thought and said to herself. It was right to learn from this world, no matter how high the cost had been. Without the knowledge of what had happened there, and as that world was so similar to this one, she knew she would have to intervene in the politics of this world sooner or later. But she had to do it wisely to save her world. Only the humming of energy remained, a distant echo from a world that had destroyed itself. In the reflection, she saw an image of the rider sitting before her, as if he were present in the room. The ghostwriter leaned against the wall, his skull quietly burning under the hood. You see, Abigail, people love to chase what glitters, and corruption rules this world. She nodded. They call it progress, but it is nothing more than gambling with numbers, without soul, without responsibility. And when they lose? Asked the rider, half mocking, half sad. Then they look for someone to blame, instead of understanding that greed itself was the enemy. Abigail replied calmly. Outside, the wind howled. She went to the window and looked at the city, its lights reflecting in the rain. Bitcoin, crypto, all promises of quick wealth. All just mirrors. They see themselves in it and realize too late that it is only smoke. The ghostwriter laughed quietly and mockingly. Humans. Abigail turned to him. In her eyes glowed a warm, golden light, and she asked, Do you think they will ever learn? Some? Maybe. Those who can still listen and want to. There is still hope for those who have not been corrupted by the EU or politics. But most must fall first to understand that security does not lie in money, but in reason, in the freedom of expression of the people, not in chat control or blind EU oversight. After this sentence, the rider completely disappeared into her, and she regained full control over her body. Only one candle burned on the table, a flickering symbol for those who could still hope. Halloween, Abigail said softly, the day when veils grow thin and one sees what really matters. And as somewhere outside the last magic of the day faded, she knew the portals would open again, and she would be ready. Not only to save this world, our world, dear readers, but also other worlds she would be tasked to protect in the future. And what about you, who have read or listened to this story today? Will you just watch while others try to destroy your world, or will you act? This question only you can answer for yourself. End of this Halloween special. Afterword by the Watcher. I am the Watcher. I observe everything and see everything that happens. I never interfere in the affairs of mortals. In the past, natural disasters threatened humans. Today, politics, false laws, and censorship threaten this world. And so the Watcher thought about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Yes, cryptocurrencies are a risk. They are highly speculative, extremely volatile, and have no real backing or governmental protection. Many people treat them as a safe investment, although it is more like digital gambling. You can make profits, but just as easily lose everything, especially when hype, emotions, or fraud are involved. It is no wonder that such a pyramid system ultimately failed, with people, politicians, and even the EU failing to see the danger of digital currencies. Nothing is safer than cash, and with this realization that cash is careful and valuable for all time, he disappeared back into the darkness, leaving this world entirely alone. Diese Geschichte ist ein Werk künstlerischer Freiheit. Sie basiert teilweise auf realen Beobachtungen und Ereignissen, wurde jedoch inhaltlich verändert, erweitert oder verfremdet, um Privatsphäre, Persönlichkeitsrechte und erzählerische Wirkung zu wahren. Ähnlichkeiten mit lebenden oder verstorbenen Personen, Institutionen oder tatsächlichen Begebenheiten sind daher zufällig oder künstlerisch interpretiert. Die dargestellten Meinungen des Gedanken und Interpretationen dienen der kreativen Auseinandersetzung mit gesellschaftlichen Themen und fallen unter den Schutz der Meinungs- und Kunstfreiheit gemäß Artikel 5 des Grundgesetzes. Sie sollen zum Nachdenken anregen, nicht beleidigen oder verurteilen. They said it was the future, digital gold. But every future can become a trap when one betrays and sells the present, our cash. Glitter made of numbers, a dream of meaningless, worthless codes. They play with fire, plan only the wages of others, far from the value of the past. Bitcoin flickers, rises and falls, like a light in the wind. You promise yourself wealth, but lose yourself so quickly. It is no treasure, no safe place. It is a game, a shimmering word. Whoever trusts blindly will soon learn that even wealth carries shadow and ruin. I am only an observer, guardian of the portals. I saw worlds, they come, and I saw them fall. For whoever loves money more than reason builds his house upon quicksand. They said it was the future, but it was only smoke in the wind. And on the night of Halloween, its shine vanished swiftly. Swifty.